Hello, welcome to WGSN-DB Going Solo Network. You're listening to the Link to Expert Business Showcase. I am Cece Schatz, one of your hosts. I am the doyenne of relationship building, and I have my good friend here with me.
Joanne Weiland, Weiland When You Can Fly. The founder of the collaborative cloud community, LinktoEXPERT.com, where you can find an expert in minutes or be found as an expert in minutes.
Absolutely. And of course, all of our information is right there on goingsolomedia.com. So just check it out. We have all of our wonderful hosts and guests there. And you just don't want to miss it, because if you have missed any episode at all, you can go there and find it. So we want you to make sure that you do that. But let's hurry up and get on with our guest today, because we have a wonderful guest. We're going to talk about use publishing to change lives with Cathy Davis. Let's bring Cathy forward. Hey,
Welcome,
Cathy.
Cathy.
Hi,
Welcome.
ladies. Thank you for inviting me today.
Oh, it is great having you. Absolutely.
Yes, we appreciate you. Cathy and I have actually been doing business together for like 3 or 4 years. Connie Whitman actually introduced us. We actually had her on the show recently, and she connected us. And ever since, Cathy and I just hit it off, and we've been doing all kinds of crazy things, including 3 anthology books I was part of. That we'll talk about some of those
Awesome.
later. But we also do a lot of joint press releases. We've actually had her featured in dozens of newsletters, and now she's even a member of Link to Expert, Cathy Davis. LinktoEXPERT.com. And we just have been having fun together doing all kinds of collaborative things, which is her middle name and mine. And it's fun to collaborate with other collaborators. So we welcome you.
Thank you. I think it may have even been pre-pandemic when we started working together.
Well, the first one was, yes, you're right. Actually, I cheated and looked at the date. And so, yeah. And then speaking of the pandemic, one time during the pandemic, my dad and mom, I was up taking care of them in South Carolina after they just had COVID, and my dad was even on a ventilator and everything. And you called me, you said, "Can you write a story in 2 days?" That somebody had backed out for unfortunately legal reasons. They
Right.
were divorced. And they said, 2 days. And you said, yes, I would do a writing coach.
Well, that's great. That's great. Well, that brings us to your business, Cathy. You have Davis Creative Publishing. It's a division is now sought after. It's an industry leader. You help over 1,500 authors become published, and over 500 authors who become Amazon bestsellers. And that is no feat yeah, I mean, that's amazing, amazing work that you do.
And she's
So
only
let
been doing this since 2008, Cece. I mean, she's just incredible. I don't know how her and Jack do it. They just
We don't
are.
get much sleep. Yeah.
Well, tell us a little bit about it, because I know what we're finding now. Okay, Cathy, this is what I'm hearing. I want to find out if this is the real deal, right? Everybody tells me if you want to be, like, I don't know if authentic is the right word, but if you want to be a leader in your industry, if you have to have a website, you have to have all these various things. Now they're saying you really need to have a book.
It
So
is very much a distinguishing factor. So I'm a member of the local and our National Speakers Association. And I got to see what all my colleagues went through during the pandemic, which was a complete halt to their no conferences, no get-togethers. They pretty much had to figure out how to work from home. And one of our authors who was a national speaker, had several of his national gigs, so to speak, canceled throughout that first year. And fortunately for him, having spoken at one of these he's in agricultural sales. And so it was somebody huge like Monsanto had kept one of his books from his last visit with their organization. And they were looking for someone that could do something online rather than in person. And the guy in the office turned around and looked on his bookcase, and he said, "That's the name of that guy." And he opened up the back of the book, and there was his bio and contact information. And 3 years later, during a pandemic, he got a gig doing a virtual talk for a group of 200-300 people. So having a book will help set you apart and set you up as a leader in your specific field. People are more apt to keep that book than they are your business card. And it doesn't have to be very big. A lot of the books that we're doing now, especially for speakers, are going to be 100 pages or less.
Right. So what about these collaborative books that are out now? They're all the rage, right? Be an author in a collaborative book. I've actually been in a collaborative book. And yeah, I thought it was fun. It was nice being together with other professionals, that I admire, to be with them in this book. So tell us a little bit about that. What's your opinion on collaborative books?
We did our first anthology collaboration probably 2005, and it was 52 authors. Someone came to us with the idea, and we helped them put the book together. The idea there being read an inspirational story once a week for a year. The way it works now, and we're about to launch our 30th anthology on November 1st. The way we work it now, and especially since the pandemic, there were two things during the pandemic that people feel they lost track of, and one was a sense of hope, and the second was the sense of community. And ironically, that's what these types of books bring together. And the stories that we tell in our anthologies are typically a hero's journey type of story, where we'll bring business women and men together. Primarily, probably 90% of our participants are female. And then there's another 10% men who are brave enough to join us. And they tell stories of overcoming a situation. So Connie and I have a mutual friend, Connie Whitman, and I think I said Connie, sorry, Joanne. And I think you said Connie has been on your show also.
Yes, she was great.
We launched her book in January, and it was more of a business aspect called Ready, Connect, Grow. And it was about how the power of networking helps to grow someone's business. More recently, we've done books that have anywhere from 45. The one that launches November 1st will have 47. It is a series of 5 books total. And everybody learned that this was the last book in this series, and everybody wanted in this particular book. And it's stories of women in business, whether business owners or executives, and how with a typical hero's journey story, we're walking along in life and life is good. And then you trip and you fall flat on your face, whatever that might be, whether it's loss of a job or loss of a marriage, or who knows how you define that. And these women have been telling their stories. And the great part is that we never leave these stories on a down note. It's always a sense of hope at the end of the story, because people are buying these books as short reads for airplanes or commutes to and from work. And it's very similar to, if you're familiar with Jack Canfield's whole entire series of Chicken Soup for the Soul, which, by the way, he sold recently. And it has there's two more of his colleagues are running that now. But those types of stories are what's selling. It's very much the Reader's Digest version of the 2020 somethings now.
Yeah, that's the type of book that I'm in, and I really loved it. I mean, I like that kind of book myself. And I know I lived in the UK for 3 years, and we used to go on the tube, all the time, the train and stuff. And so traveling, everybody had a book, right? You could see everybody having a book. And so I think reading is very, very important. It's relaxing. It takes us away from the mundane things that we have to do, like sitting on a train for a couple hours to get back and forth to work. But it's very interesting. We want things that are uplifting. And I will share with you that at that time I was doing sales, right? And I was reading books, going back and forth and all this kind of stuff, and always inspirational, self-help type of books. That's what I like. And so I decided I would stop reading, because I wanted to see if it had any effect on me at all, because I'm a real up person, so I thought maybe I'll just stop reading. And so I did that. My sales went right down. Absolutely.
Wow.
Right down. I started reading again. My sales went back up again. I was their top salesperson. So, I really do. I think we're like a well, and that we have to feed ourselves. And so it's the same thing with the TV stuff you watch, the things you read, the things you do. So yeah, I think reading is important.
Well, the other fun thing about the collaborative anthologies is that I always tell people we're not selling ink on paper. What we're selling is what I see is credibility, confidence, and connections.
Mhm.
So I'll have a woman that will hesitate to join, and she'll say, well, what do I have that anybody to tell that anybody wants to hear? Or I can't put two sentences together. But the way we have the program set up, because each book has its own assigned writing coach that they have, and ironically, all of our writing coaches not only have a journalism degree, but several of them are also social workers or former therapists. We have one woman who is a PhD in child psychology, and this is part of her retirement because her undergrad degree was in journalism. And so many of our authors will say, oh, I can't wait until I have my conversation with Carol or Maria, because I know not only will she help me with my story, but she'll help me figure out my day also. It's another like therapy session that I've kind of paid for in bulk. And it's like, it's exactly what it is.
That's great. That's great. I didn't realize that you had that. And I think that's good because, again, when I was doing the book, we didn't have anything like that. You just have to sit down and do it. And there was like a time period that we had to do it in, right? Like I think you probably do too. And of course, I put it off because I was so worried about doing it, right? And finally, it was like down to that weekend. I had to turn it in on Monday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I get up on Sunday morning and I'm like inspired for some reason. I wrote it in a half an hour.
Wow.
A chapter and it just flooded out. And I was so worried about it. And it just flooded out. And she told me that she had made just a couple little revisions to it, and that was it. And we flew with it. But it's like, so we can't let things. The moral of the story is that we should not let our fear block us from doing things like that, because we are amazed at what we can do, right?
It's an awesome way to tiptoe into the publishing world. If you've been thinking about writing a book, but you're not sure where to start or how to do it, being a part of an anthology collection will allow you to tiptoe into that world and figure out, oh, well, now I just did one chapter, and if I multiply that times 10, I could write a whole book. And so, and occasionally they will come back and we'll help them write their solo book.
Very
well,
nice.
it's also, to me, so important because of the fact you are collaborating with the other authors to market it, especially, but you also, Cathy also has where you have meetings throughout the period of creating the book.
Well, of course, it started during the pandemic because, we were midstream getting ready to launch one of the books early May when the world shut down on middle of March. And I remember the authors saying, well, what are we going to do? And I said, well, the name of the book is called Fearless and Fabulous. I think we're going to go through this and we're going to get to the finish line and we're going to publish this book. And I think so many of them thought I was just going to, cancel the whole thing. It's like, well, why not? Why shouldn't we go ahead and do this? Right. And one of the women that was in that book, she said, Cathy, that's how I kept my business going. I just reached out and scheduled a virtual coffee break with each of the other authors in that book. And we'd get to know each other. We'd become referral partners. And before you knew it, I was getting referrals from the other authors. And she's a financial services agent. And so, that's how she made it through the pandemic. And she's since been in 4 of our books. And
wonderful.
It is amazing. I mean, and then when you market it together, like in the 3 that I was in, we became #1 international bestsellers on each one of them because we had that power of all of us promoting it. And like me, I know people all over the world, so it really helps too because you want to be international too. And it, I'm sure others did too. I don't mean only me. I just mean that it's just much more easy. Is that a word?
Right.
Much easier, put it that way, to be, get the word out and let people know about your book when you have whatever it is, 15, 27 different people promoting it as well. And it is really exciting. Like you said, that happened to me as well. I got to meet the other authors, work with them, talk with them, brainstorm with them, share referrals, like you said.
We even have a story where there's a couple, she's in France and he's in Los Angeles, and they became a couple.
Wow.
They were both in one of our anthologies together, and
That's part of Cece's alley.
struck up a conversation, and pretty soon it was Zoom calls, and then pretty soon he flew over there, and she flew back, and they have since written a couple of books together. So you never know what will happen in one of these anthologies.
You never know. You never know. That's exciting, isn't it? Wow.
I should add that to my moniker,
Yes, I think so.
Date maker. Yeah.
Yeah. Love in the publishing corner.
But you also help people create their own book too, publish their own book too.
We do. Primarily, we offer nonfiction for marketing purposes for businesses. We also do a lot of children's books. What we have found, so we have a gentleman who's retired. He was the former communications director of Bass Pro Shops. So his first 2 or 3 books were all about fishing and the awards he won and how to catch this fish and that fish. And it was like Zoom right over my head. And then he started having grandkids. So then he came back and he's done 3 or 4 children's books, just adorable, about learning to fish with grandpa and stuff like that. And then he was going through some old papers from college, and he found a novel that he had handwritten and started in a spiral in college. And he typed that puppy up, and he's now produced a novel. And I think he's even done a couple of nonfiction, just stories about his life, kind of autobiography novel / books. So once you get the bug, you never know what next book you might write.
Oh, it's really exciting because I feel like we don't even know what we can't do until we try. I think Cece meant that earlier, and it's just fascinating. And then to be able to work with somebody like Davis Publishing makes it, if you will, more comfortable because you're not doing it by yourself. And I think that's why a lot of people do it as well. Like for me, I also found with the anthology books, it was also, you had an accountability partner. And that to me in life in general is huge. And I'm sure just like Cece waiting till the last weekend, most people would do that if they don't have somebody that's keeping them.
Well, and we have learned over the years, we have a timeline. And I'm very grateful that I have Julie, my assistant, who's been with us about 7, almost 8 years. And she loves those spreadsheets, and she loves keeping track of things. And she knows exactly who's turned in a bio and a photo. And she's the one that gets out the little imaginary whip and calls them and says, come on, you don't want to be the one that, causes this book to not get published when it's supposed to. So it's, I love that because she's a stickler for a timeline, and we need that because it's definitely, I'm a dog person, and I've been told this is a lot like corralling cats, and it takes several of us to make it happen.
I've talked to Julie several times, not really about that. I mean, she wasn't on me.
Cracking the whip on you.
But we've done so many projects together, Cathy and I, and she's really good at helping follow up and getting different information. Even when
if you can't find me, Julie usually knows where I'm at. Yeah.
Right. So it's great to have I call it my right arm.
We all need a Julie. Yeah.
Yes,
for sure. Well, we all have that creative seed in us, right? And so sometimes it needs to be watered a bit. And so someone like Julie will kind of, help you along, to be able to do what you need to do and give you the encouragement along the way. And so we all kind of need that from time to time. We're going to have to take a break because it goes by so fast when we're on these shows. We have such wonderful people like you, Cathy Davis. So we are very, very proud to have you here with us. But before we go, let's make sure that everyone knows how to get a hold of you. You can reach Cathy at daviscreativepublishing.com. And of course, her website is daviscreativepublishing.com.
No,
it's not?
All the URLs will go to the same spot.
Okay.
So it's all good.
Davis, Davis, creative, CREATIVE, publishing, PUBLISHING.com. So make sure that you reach out to her at Davis Creative Publishing. And I will share with you, and we'll do it on the second half of the show too, but I will share with you, she's got a lot of really cool things on her website. So you want to go and check it out. She does inspiring authors conversation events. So you can find those things there. We'll talk about it more on the second half. And she's got a free gift for us. So we are so happy to be able to share that with you. So the free gift link is, again, Creative Publishing, and this is partners, partners.com, and then / the order of a book. And you know what? You can go on the website and you can just see it there. I clicked on it, and you can see it right there. So it's the order of a book, and you can find it. If you can't find it, all you got to do is send her an email and say, hey, where's that free gift that we saw on Link to Expert Business Showcase? And she will be very happy to give it to you. So we will be right back. We're talking with Cathy Davis from the Davis Creative Publishing. We're talking about use publishing to change lives with Cathy Davis. So we'll be right back.
Substance abuse is at the root of 40 to 60% of domestic violence incidents. This alarming statistic highlights why we need tools that promote sobriety and safety in our households. SoberLink is a breathalyzer system that helps people prove sobriety, keeps children safe, and provides peace of mind through scheduled testing, real-time results, and immediate notifications. If someone with a history of alcohol issues is working on their sobriety and rebuilding trust with their family, SoberLink can serve as a tool to ensure safety and provide transparency. As we shine a light on domestic violence this October, let's remember that solutions to such complex problems require comprehensive approaches. Tools like SoberLink can play a part. Let's work together to end domestic violence and support recovery in all its forms. Visit soberlink.com/end-abuse to learn more and receive $50 off a device.
Welcome back to Link to Expert Business Showcase. And I am with my good friend here, Joanne Weiland, and we are with our wonderful guest here today, Cathy Davis. We're talking about use publishing to change lives. Those of you that don't know me, I'm Cece Schatz. I forgot to mention me, and I am the doyen of relationship building, and we hope that you guys know that. So I want to also mention Joanne Weiland is the Chief Connections Officer and founder of the Collaboration Cloud community, LinktoEXPERT.com. So check that out, because you certainly want to. Now, Cathy Davis is a standalone individual that has been in the publishing industry for some time now, and her business is called Davis Creative Publishing. And if you're thinking about writing a book or a collaborative book or just trying to learn how to do it, she is the one that you want to reach out to. She is truly sought after in her industry. She's helped over 1,500 authors become published and over 500 authors become Amazon bestsellers. That is something that I have just not heard of, because it is a very hard task to do if you're looking to write a book and become a bestseller. So she certainly knows how to do that. So welcome back to the show, Cathy.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to be with you today.
It is great being here. And, let's talk a little bit, like the first part of the show, we talked about writing a book. Being creative, having that inspiration, maybe a collaborative book where you're sharing with other people and you're, trying to get it out there. But again, a book is nothing if we can't get it out so people know that it's there, right? And that's where you really shine, is to allow people to not only be creative, you help assist them in that, because as you said before, you have, a coach, a writing coach that kind of helps inspire, helps kind of keep them going with it, and digs deep into the story that they want to be able to give out. But getting it off the countertop and onto where it needs to go, Amazon or whatever, and then gearing up the marketing so people are aware of it, is definitely difficult. So kind of take us through a little bit of your steps, that what you do to create this for people.
I quite often call production of a book much like putting a 10,000 piece puzzle together. And you've got to love putting puzzles together to be in this line of work, because no matter where an author or aspiring author might be, sometimes they come to us with just an idea in their head. We literally also had someone hand us a manila envelope with notes on napkins and backs of receipts and scratch corners of paper, literally just like you hear the accountant gets. We got one of those manila envelopes one time. But no matter where an author is, we act very much like a ghost publisher. So we set our authors up as their own independent publishing company. That allows them to keep 100% of their copyright, 100% ownership of their book, and they get all the royalties. And then, so they come to us perhaps with a manuscript partially written. We have editors that can step in. We have content creators that can step in and help them. If the author wants to be involved in finishing the book themselves, then they work together as a team to make that happen. Occasionally they'll say, I don't want to write it. I just want to have somebody interview me and write the book for me. And we have people that can do that. Nice. More often, they will come to us with a partially, almost completed manuscript. We'll assign an editor and a proofreader to it, and then we walk them through the design of the cover. We help them decide the fonts, both on the outside and the inside. We also have what we call our secret sauce, our terminology for a short little 3-step formula that we use for back cover copy. And we have found that when using our formula, more of our books have shown up in those big box stores like Walmart and Target and Costco, and of course Barnes & Noble online, and Barnes & Noble on the corner also in your neighborhood. And when it comes to marketing, so much, there you go.
Back cover.
And so much of what we have learned from our authors is that it's not only whether you're traditionally published or independently published, like we set our authors up for, it's pretty much up to the author to do a greater majority of the marketing. Now we can lead them down the correct road. We can introduce them to people. If someone were to come to me and say, Cathy, I really want to be on the Today Show, how do I make that happen? In the last 10 years, we've had 2 of those. You need to have a budget of at least $10,000 to $20,000, but I can introduce you to a woman out in Seattle that can make that happen. And once you enter this arena of the independently published author, you start familiarizing yourself with what's called the pay-to-play model. So if you want an Amazon bestseller, there's a fee attached to that. But the people that we use, we have over 50 Amazon bestsellers just with this one group. And we know that they do it well, they do it right. All of the books that we have sent to them have either become an international bestseller or an international #1 bestseller. And we trust them. It's like, I don't want to go out and learn how they do it because they do it so well. And our authors, it's pretty much, we are the hub. And no matter what it is that they want to do and want to make happen, we have resources that we can introduce to them and bring into the mix to make sure they get what they want.
Excellent. That's excellent. What I heard there, what really stuck out to me was, we can't always know how to do everything, right? So we have to go to the people that are experts in that particular field. And you do that. You go to the individuals that are expert in getting the, on the Amazon bestseller list.
Mm-hmm.
So you introduce that to your publishers, which is great, because I mean, I think that we need to know that, and know that we need to go to people that are experts in their field that can take us through that avenue. Because a lot of times what happens is that especially in writing a book, you'll get, and another thing I wanted to mention too, is that you'll get in with writing the book, and then you lose your copyright rights, right? And so what ends up happening is the person that's doing this book is the one that's actually making the money. You don't make any money off of it, and it
You have to
doesn't
be very careful.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. And so you want to make sure that you're going to somebody that has a reputation that's behind them, like you do, Cathy, and that, you know, they do this for a living. This is not something they do to make some extra money on the side, right? Because when they're making extra money on the side, you're not making any money, because they're making the extra money on the side. So you need to know that. So you want to go to someone that's like Cathy, that has a true, like Davis Creative Publishing. She has a publishing, business. And so this is what she does for a living.
Since 2008 too.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing worse than writing something, finding out, going through all of this stuff, writing something, find out you lose the copyright to it. You're not going to make any money on it. And it's just it's something dead for you. And and all the hopes and dreams you had for that ends up, kind of on stall, and it doesn't work for you.
It's very much a buyer beware industry. Publishing is unregulated here in the United States, and I've seen and heard some horror stories. One of the things that I do offer to, even if you're not a client of ours, if you've been approached by a publishing company, and there are some world-known publishing companies who are very curious to work with, I'll use that word. And there are some names that are well recognized out there that you still have to be very careful with. I recently I read contracts for people. So if you are approached by a publisher and you're not sure whether it's legitimate, first of all, feel free to email me that contract. I'll let you know if I've heard of that publisher. I will also send you some other information that you can use to research them. I have been recently reading a publishing contract by an international publishing company that does a lot of work out there, buried back on like page 10 of tiny little type that you can barely read anyway. There was this paragraph about, if by chance and I'm paraphrasing here, if by chance that we think your book is worthy of a screenplay or a movie, that we would pay, we being the author or the publishing company, would pay to have that script written. And oh, by the way, we could make the movie and not have to have your permission, and we would make all the money and you wouldn't get a percentage of it. And I was like, so that's when I send it back to the author and I say, here's the name of a couple of publishing attorneys that I know that can probably help you navigate this, but I would not sign that.
Yeah.
And that's something that I offer for free. If someone, it may be a contract that I've already written or read, and I'm more than happy to read through it and give you a list of questions as to what to ask that publisher in order to make sure that you're protected and that you're going to get a percentage of your pie, because you're the one building this pie.
Yeah. Can you imagine? Here you have a book, right? You've done all of that, all the, sweat and tears gone into writing the book, and then someone wants to do a screenplay, make a movie out of your book, and you don't get any, you lost all your rights to it and everything. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, I can't believe they even have put that in there. It was just
that is
amazing.
Hard. Yeah. So it goes to show you that you really do have to know what you're doing. You do have to know the people that you're working with and be able to do that. So again, we want to make sure that everyone out there, knows that to reach you. Again, it's at Cathy, and that's Cathy with the C, Cathy, at Davis, Davis, Creative, Creative, Publishing, Publishing.com. So check out her website. She's been in business for many years. And of course, she's got several books, over 1,500 authors. That's a tremendous amount. And then over 500 of them have been the Amazon bestsellers. So that is amazing. And like you said, you have other connections. So if you want to, do some sort of book tour, or you'd want to do some things like that, I'm sure that you can assist them and give them advice as to what they need to do and things like that. So, and what not to do, because there's a lot of things, I think, too, we haven't even talked about that. There's probably a lot of things that we probably shouldn't even be doing, that isn't, it's just shoot yourself in the foot when you're trying to market. So those kind of things. So
I was just thinking, just today alone, someone, an existing client whose book we published about 6 months ago, emailed me and said, now, what did you tell me about how I'm supposed to be marketing myself? And so I shot off a quick, email to him and reminded him of what he could do. And, oh, by the way, then if you decide you want help, I know these people out in Santa Fe, I can refer you to them, and they are strictly book marketing people. And let me know, and I'd be happy to give you an introduction. So authors have the option to try and do it themselves, and quite often they'll start out that way, and then they see that, no, there's a little bit more involved than I'm really knowledgeable about, and then they start asking for help. So
yeah. Now, how do you do this? Just the last question, and then I'm sorry, Joanne, I'm talking all the time, but because I'm interested in this. But how do you do it? Do you sell like a package, or do you okay, this is one level you could do, and then this is another level, or how do you?
We do have packages and programs.
Okay.
The authors that come to us don't necessarily always fit into those programs, so we'll take a piece and a piece and a piece, and we'll make their own customize it for them. And depending on how much they want to do, sometimes someone will just say, I really want to work with one of your writing coaches. And this year they'll come through and do that. Next year they'll come back and say, okay, now I'm ready for the design and the layout, and let's get this thing published. Then, so it's very much customized per author. From a budget standpoint, authors can expect to spend anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 on a solo book. And that would be a minimal Amazon bestseller campaign. The more they want to add on the marketing side, or the more that they need our writing coach, those are the variables that will cause that budget to go up or down.
All right. Very good. Well, that's a great amount of information for those. And then I guess if you're doing a collaborative book, that's a way that you could kind of help offset some of those expenses.
You can.
That expense.
You can tiptoe into a collaborative book for anywhere between $750 and $1,000 per chapter, depending on the type of book and when it's going to launch. Yeah.
Great. That's good information. Thank you so much for sharing that. Joanne, do you have any questions? I'm sorry, I've been hogging her.
No, I already knew Cathy, so I was actually interested that the parts you were interested in, because I think that's really important, because when I already know her, I knew a lot of those things, so I might not have asked. But I think it's really cool that Cathy, I find, is like an expert of experts, meaning her whole team is full of different types of experts, just because, as you know, that's what my whole life is about, is connecting people with experts. And that's why I love working with Cathy, because she knows too that she can't do it all, that she has these different people that are experts doing different parts of the project. And I really feel like that is the key to success. People that understand that they have to delegate to others that can do it as good or better than them. And especially people that can do things like Cathy's talking about, that most people don't have those skills. And when they try to do it themselves, usually they give up, because it is frustrating, because they don't understand how to do it. It's time consuming, and they usually have other responsibilities. So that's why I really do believe that you can't always be an expert. You can't always know an expert, but you can always hire one. And when you hire them and they're professional like Cathy, at Davis Publishing, it's just so worthwhile, because of the fact that you're going to not only get it done, but you're going to get it done right. You're going to also have her there ongoing, because again, she talks about so many people that I know that do more than one, and it's a process, and it's just exciting just to see how she operates. And even like her and I putting out the press releases, there's so many different ways that you can market. And that's why we love to work together too, because my background is all about marketing and getting people in front of the right people, just like you do here, Cece. on WGSN-DB and 57 networks. I mean, it's really phenomenal because people don't realize how long it takes to get on different networks as well. So when you actually have a book, we would invite you to we have another show called the Goodreads Author's Corner. And I think, Cathy, we're going to be having you on that sometime soon too. And we're excited about that because of the fact that it's another level of understanding what Cathy and Davis.
Well, in that particular conversation, I know we'll be talking about if you have an idea for an anthology or a collection yourself, how to approach us and become a sponsor of one of those books and actually use it as a money-making source.
Yes, and that's true too, because a lot of these things that we do, we don't realize, but you can create revenue too and do what you love and create what you wanted to create and get it out there to the world. I thought we'd end by telling about the free gift again. So Cathy does have a free gift that you actually go online. Cece has it up there, but meaning that you can actually order a book. And so check it out. Each person gets one free. And we just encourage you to do that because anyway, like Cece and Cathy, I mean, we're always reading books. So it's always good to have some new ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Just go to Creative Publishing Partners, PARTNERS.com, and then it's the order of a book, and you'll find it on the website. So just go to the website. It's easy to be able to find it. And if you have any questions, again, all you have to do is reach out to Cathy at Cathy with the Cathy at daviscreativepublishing.com. So time goes by so quickly. We are so pleased to have you, and I'm looking forward to the Author's Corner to learn a little bit more about the collaborative books too. I think that's going to be great.
I look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Cathy. Thank you, Cece.
You're welcome. This is we're going bold, actually. We're going bold media.com, and this is the Link to Expert Business Showcase. I hope you guys enjoyed the show we did today. The show's title is Use Publishing to Change Lives with Cathy Davis. Certainly very interesting show indeed, and I'm just so pleased to be part of it. I am Cece Schatz, the doyenne of relationship building. I have my good friend here with me, Joanne Weiland, who, again, I want you guys to know that she is the Chief Connections Officer and founder of the collaborative cloud community called LinktoEXPERT.com, which we are representing in this show. So check it out, LinktoEXPERT.com. If you guys ever want to be, and we hope you do, you want to be a Going Bold guest or a host on our network, just contact either Joanne or myself. You can contact Joanne at jweiland, WEILAND, at linktoexpert.com. And then, of course, me is always Going Solo Network at gmail.com. I hope that you will. We are looking for sponsors. If you want to be a sponsor of the show, have some advertisements here, we would love and be honored to have you here with us here on the Link to Expert Business Showcase. So we got to run, guys. It was so much fun. Thank you so much, ladies. I appreciate you. All right. Bye for now.